Alright, thank you for watching. The whole point of this video is to share a thought that I would have shared in Sunday school class. If next week, if we were not going through the Corona, COVID, Wuhan, China, 2019, COVID-19 virus pandemic, and shutdown of public meetings, including church meetings. In the Book of Mormon, in the Book of Moses... Ooh, what just happened? Okay. In the Book of Mormon, in the Book of Mosiah, chapter 23, we read about the people who Alma led away from the land of Nephi. They founded a new city named Helam, named after the first one of them to get baptized. And we see in chapter 23, verse 25, "For behold, it came to pass that while they were in the land of Helam, yea, in the city of Helam, while tilling the land round about, behold, an army of the Lamanites was in the borders of the land. Now it came to pass that the brethren of Alma fled from their fields and gathered themselves together in the city of Helam. And they were much frightened because of the appearance of the Lamanites. But Alma went forth and stood among them and exhorted them that they should not be frightened, but that they should remember the Lord their God, and he would deliver them. Therefore they hushed their fears and began to cry unto the Lord, that he would soften the hearts of the Lamanites, that they would spare them and their wives and their children. And it came to pass that the Lord did soften the hearts of the Lamanites, and Alma and his brethren went forth and delivered themselves up into the hands, and the Lamanites their hands, and the Lamanites took possession of the land of Helam." Okay. Now, things were not pleasant for them. We see more details in the next chapter about what they went through after that. Let's see, verse 9. "And for Amulon knew Alma that he had been one of the king's priests, and it was he that believed the words of Abinadi and was driven out before the king, and therefore he was wroth with him, for he was subject to King Laman. Yet he exercised authority over them, and put tasks on them, and put taskmasters over them. And it came to pass, so great were their afflictions, that they began to cry mightily to God. And Amulon commanded that they should stop their cries, and he put guards over them to watch them. And whosoever should be found calling upon God should be put to death." Alright, and God delivered them eventually, but there was a time, it doesn't specify how many weeks or days it was, but there was a time when they had to put up with this. They had to submit to it, go along with it. And is this something we can apply to ourselves, is the question I will answer. Are we in a circumstance ever where sometimes we need to go along with something that we would rather not, that is actually not good, but we don't have a better option? And I can think of just one thing, and I've been thinking about this for a few days, but the way I think we can apply this to our life, the concept of going along with something that's not good. It's not good to have cruel taskmasters burdening you with great burdens. Right now in the world, there are some governments which are giving out a marriage certificate to people who are not married. They're calling relationships that have extremely little, arguably nothing, to do with marriage. Relationships that are not marriage in any sense of the word that we can come up with, thinking about biology and physiology and sociology. But nevertheless, there are governments giving out those marriage certificates to two people who couldn't be married by any definition of marriage that has a logic, that has good logic behind it, and is based on biology and sociology. But we need to go along with that for now, I guess. I was thinking of this verse and I had this idea. Maybe it was the Holy Ghost giving me the idea. We need to go along with that for now. Go along with that in our interactions as we are out there in this world, I'm saying. I'm not saying now believe those ideas about what a marriage is because of bullying. Don't deep down in your heart say, oh yes, this combination, that is a marriage, even though you can't answer certain questions about that relationship the way you could answer questions about historic, biological, and sociological marriage. So that's my thought about that. So, deep down in my heart, in my conversations that are not related to, like, government laws and government rulings, I will call marriage what marriage is. But when somebody has that piece of paper from a government that calls them marriage, I'm going to go along with that piece of paper and call them married for official purposes. I suppose maybe some of my fellow saints might think that our antagonists that we have to put up with this in this world are an example of this. Not, that we have to hear people try to talk us into abandoning Jesus Christ. Groups like the Lighthouse Project Utah, or Lighthouse Ministries Utah. There's some group with Lighthouse in their name that's trying to talk me and the rest of us followers of Jesus Christ through his true and living prophet and true and living church. They're trying to talk us into abandoning Jesus Christ and following a different gospel. I don't look at them, those like them, those who you can see every general conference surrounding the building to talk us out of following Jesus Christ. Oh, except for this most recent general conference, because of the unique structure of this most recent general conference. Maybe they were still out there hoping to talk an apostle out of following Jesus Christ. I don't know. I don't live in Utah. I didn't try to find that out. Okay, so I don't think us putting up with them falls into this category because their freedom of speech is a good thing. They're not going to be bugging us in the celestial kingdom after final judgment. But for now on this earth, their freedom of speech is a good thing, even if they say things that are wrong. Because their freedom of speech is also our freedom of speech to speak the truth. But if there is anyone who is especially irritated, who doesn't realize how important their freedom of speech is, I guess they might think of, those temple protesters trying to talk us into following a different gospel than Jesus Christ's gospel as falling into this category. So, that's my thoughts. Do you have anything you think I should have added to this list? Well, I guess maybe to get my driver's license, I might be asked on the questionnaires for the test for getting a driver's license, questions about how much alcohol gets you drunk, what percentage of alcohol there is in different drinks, or how many ounces is a drink. And I do look at that as an annoyance and a burden, because I believe God says, drink zero alcohol. I will drink zero alcohol. So it doesn't matter to me at all how many beers it takes to get drunk. How many ounces of whiskey is a drink of whiskey, since I'm going to drink none of it. So it is an annoying waste of my time and anyone else's time who has the understanding that God says drink zero alcohol. It is a waste of my mental energy that I could spend with a lot more important things. To have to learn those facts about alcohol. So I suppose that could be one we could add to the list. That's about it, unless you want to add to the culture. Well, in the culture that I live in, and most of the world, if not all the world that I'm aware of, unchastity is the more common thing, and you're looked at negatively, like foolish, even foolish, if you want to wait until you get married to have sex, for example. So, people having wrong beliefs like that is, I don't think, very comparable to, and those people for the most part aren't trying to force me to say that, the law of chastity is old and outdated. There's not a certificate denouncing the law of chastity that governments are giving out that I, have to acknowledge or something. So, feel free to add in the comments section any other things you think I should have added to this list. Have a good day. Thank you.